Hi, I am teaching a class this December on creating an online presence for writers. And one of the things that we'll cover there is something that I don't think as many people use or know about as they could. And so I thought I would talk about Twitter lists and how I use them. So in order to do this, let me share my screen, and I'm going to talk to you about a couple of the lists that I use and how I use them. All right, so I'm screen sharing. This is my list page. You can see I clicked on lists, and you can see you can pin some up at the top. You can edit this if I wanted to add some more. And you can see what I've got pinned is I have images, women in fantasy and science fiction, non-binary fantasy and science fiction creatives, the faculty from my Rambo Academy, and interactives. And I will talk about all of these. You'll notice that interactives is a private list. The rest of these are public lists, which someone could subscribe to if they wanted to. So let's look at them. Okay, this is not actually physical Armageddon. It's a game that I used to play. All right, so images is basically, as you can see, when you create a list, you can create a description for it. These are image-heavy streams to delight your eyes. You can see I have 276 different Twitter streams that it's pulling from, and you can see that a couple of people are following it. And so basically, these are people who I've noticed tweet a lot of images, because one of the things that I like to do is have images in my Twitter stream to make it more visually appealing. And I also have a Twitter tag that I used called Storyseed, and I'll talk about that, the tags, in another video sometime. But here, for example, a lot of mine come from the image stream. This might make an interesting story seed. Okay, so that's how I use images. Let's look at this one. This is non-binary fantasy and science fiction creatives. You can see I have there's 735 people on it. There's 230 people following. This lets me go find a lot of content from people who are non-binary, which is something I want more of in my Twitter stream in the name of diversity. I maintain this list. Periodically, I will tweet about it and invite people to tell me if they should be added to it. Really, and I maintain a similar one for women in fantasy and science fiction, and I know that there's one for queer writers and writers of color. All right, so here's my Rambo Academy faculty. This is a list of people who teach for me, and I go to it. You can see I'm on it because I'm one of the faculty. But here's stuff from people like Shannon McGuire teaches me. Ooh, exciting news about that. All right. So that's how I use that. And that's because I often want to pull up content from my faculty in order to support them and raise their profile. All right. This is the interactives list, and you can see I keep it private. And so what this is people who are good about interacting with me on Twitter. These are people who I want to be retweeting because they're retweeting my stuff. They're interacting with me. And so as I notice them interacting with me, I may add them, and I'll go through often and try and promote them. Okay. Oh, that's a good question. Can you name a popular store? All right. And you can see actually Monica's doing something here that is smart, which is engaging her audience. She's giving them a question. She's starting a discussion. All right. So that's some of the lists. And then this last one is just good stuff. And these are basically accounts that I have noticed tweet high quality, interesting stuff. If I'm looking for stuff to put in my stream and I'll talk about how I use Buffer to do that in yet another video sometime. This is one of my go-to lists, and as you can see, I'm pulling from 927 Twitter streams. I'm uh, just a ton of stuff on here. And this is the list where if it's people who I want to follow, but they're not likely to follow me back, I often just stick them on here because I check this list pretty often. All right, so that's the lists. They're easy to create. You can see I have various ones here. You can use them to track a lot of stuff. It's very easy to create a list, name it, describe it. If you make it private, only you can see it. If it's public, then one of the things that you will see, see if I can, a list that I'm on, and you can see all the lists that people have put me on. So if you're curious about the list that you're on, that people might have added you to. And I'm not going to scroll down too far because one of the funny things that happens on Twitter is you get the conservatives making lists of the people they don't like, and you'll notice I appear on some of those, oddly enough. All right, so that's how I use lists. I think this is a very cool Twitter functionality. It's handy, it's useful. It is more there for your use than for other people's use. While I have created lists that other people subscribe, it's mainly for me. It lets me sort a lot of the stuff. I have another one called just Storyseeds, and that is basically a whole bunch of bots and people that sort of bubble up random stuff that could make for interesting stories. All right, so that is Twitter lists. Let me pull back over here and try to stop sharing. Okay, so that's how I use Twitter lists. I hope that that was helpful. If you have questions, feel free to ask me in the comments. I'm really curious. Have you used lists? Do you not use lists? Why don't you use lists? How have you never heard of them before? I really would like to know how other people are using lists. If you've never heard of them, I'm just curious. Let me know what you think. And of course, if this is useful to you, if you want to see more of these, right? Because I'm always happy to talk about social media, more social media stuff, happy to do it. You just got to let me know. So as always, like, subscribe, retweet, I don't know, just spread the word if you would. Thank you very much.